We've gotten a lot of interesting attackers since Siege released, but we've never had an attacker who's able to build stuff. That has strictly been defender only. That all changes with Year 10 Season 1 when we get RAUORA. She's going to be the first attacker that can essentially place barricades. And it's a little bit more complicated than that. People have been saying for a while that they just want an attacker who can just put down barricades like defenders, but we're not getting that. We're getting something a little bit more high-tech. She's kind of a mix of like Castle and Aruni on attack, but with a launcher that kind of looks like Hibana's X-Cairo launcher, and works very similarly. And you'll get an idea of how she works as you watch more of the footage, but I'm going to break it down here as well. RAUORA can essentially shoot a metal barricade onto any doorway, but it cannot go on windows. Only doors. Single doors, double doors, fine, but just no windows. Now once her gadget lands, a metal door will slowly come down, completely blocking the doorway from top to bottom. The doorway will open up to allow drones to pass beneath it, but then it closes right after. And I'm not entirely sure if it'll do the same for defender drones like Yokai and Mozzie drones. We weren't able to test it, which I'll quickly throw in here. The footage you're seeing is all footage provided by Ubisoft. Unfortunately, we were not able to record our own gameplay for this season. So everything you're going to see here is just going to be random clips that the devs took and then uploaded to us. That's all that was provided to us. But don't worry, once the test server hits, I'm going to be trying to get as much footage and as many interactions as possible. Which we'll talk about interactions in a second. Let's continue talking about how the gadget works. So the only way that this metal door can open is by shooting the red box at the top of the doorway. And there's panels for that on both sides. If you're an attacker and you shoot it, the door will open in 1 second. However, if you're a defender and shoot it, it will take 3 seconds to open. Don't ask me how the gadget can tell whose bullets are landing on it. That is just some high-tech science. I don't know. And I don't know the accuracy of this or how close you have to be, but from what we were told, you can only open and close the door if you're close to the door. I don't know if it's going to be like an Aruni gate where you have to be basically right next to it, or if it's going to be like within 10 meters. I'm not too sure. But from my understanding, you can't just shoot it from like way off site and just keep it closed. Like you're going to have to actually be close to it and using it properly. Now, obviously, the door can also be broken. It can be broken with explosives. It can be frozen with tuber out to temporarily disable it. It can be broken with an Oryx dash, or it can be disabled with a bulletproof camera as well. And then there are some slightly more fringe interactions. Jaeger ADSs can stop it from landing on a doorway, so if you put down an ADS, it will just absorb the launcher. Kind of like how Hibana worked back in the day. I assume Wamai works the same way, but I'm not entirely sure. Again, since we didn't get to test it, I can't really tell you for sure. Wamai wouldn't make much sense to interact with it because Wamai's gadget pulls a projectile and then detonates it where it is, but if the thing can only go on doors and it pulls it, it can't detonate it anywhere. So maybe it'll just absorb it and then break it. I'm not sure. Either way, it'll probably take it out of the air. And then there's also castle and normal barricades that will technically counter it, because you're not allowed to place the metal doors on existing doors. So you'll have to break a castle barricade, you'll have to break a normal barricade before you can place it on there. And then another cool interaction, which in my opinion was kind of unexpected, Fuse and Ying for some reason can place their gadgets on the doorway. Fuse makes sense because it draws through. Ying, I found that a little weird, but hey, any other way that we can benefit from that Ying synergy, I'm happy about. And then like I said, once test server hits, I'll be able to test more things. One thing I in particularly want to try out is how Brava works with the operator. Because if a Mozzie pest hacks a Brava drone and then Mozzie drives the Brava drone over to a RAUORA door, can Mozzie hack it? Will it now flip sides where if an attacker shoots it, it takes 3 seconds, but if a defender shoots it, it takes 1 second? Like something like that I really want to test, but we'll test it when the test server comes out. Now let's talk loadout. RAUORA is a 2-speed, 2-health operator and has 2 interesting primaries. The 417 DMR is being reused again, which I'm not too happy about because this is now, what, like the 4th operator, 5th operator that has the DMR. I feel like it's too popular. Use something else. But then she also has the M249 LMG, which is kind of the same situation. Because I think there's 2 operators who have the M249 LMG, but then there's also 2 operators who I think have the M249 SAW. I could be misremembering, and I'm at the hotel right now recording this, so I'm not going to do a deep dive. But it just feels like those 2 guns have been kind of reused too much. But the one benefit we get is that Ubi's keeping their promise, and they're releasing a new weapon with every new operator. RAUORA has a new secondary machine pistol. It has a very clean red dot sight attached to it, and it also has an extended mag, we were told, but I assume that just means it has more ammo than you would expect it to have. And from the footage we're looking at, it looks like it has literally zero recoil. And that's saying something because the devs normally aren't great at controlling the recoil in these videos, so the fact that it's not moving at all, I think it's going to be a very, very strong secondary. I'm kind of getting vibes of like Smoke SMG-11 back in the day. Now, RAUORA's ability has some very interesting potentials, especially for making post plants almost impossible for defenders. Some sites I could see it being very, very good on would be like Cafe Bar, Clubhouse CCTV, and Oregon Dining Room, just to name a few. Cafe Bar, I think, is going to be by far the most prevalent one. The fact that you can go to the skylight and put down all the metal doors on all the doors to site and then just drop skylight and plant, and they can't really do too much about it, it's just gonna be really, really strong. And I know people hate the rush meta and the rush plant meta. I think she's gonna really enable that, which I'm a fan of. I liked that meta, so I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's also going to be a really interesting gadget to completely block off roamers. Obviously they can still shoot the door open and then walk right through it, but it's going to be noisy and attackers are going to be aware of a door opening because it's just a slow metal door opening. It's going to be very obvious, especially if people put it close to where they're executing. And with it opening slowly, I think it gives attackers enough time to shoot the defenders before defenders can shoot them, because attackers are going to be able to see the feet of defenders, but defenders won't be able to see anything from the attackers. Now, what makes me excited and happy about this operator is that just right off the bat, there are just so many possibilities we can brainstorm that it means there's going to be a lot of possible content with them. Because the last thing we want with new content is when there's like one thing the operator can do and that's all anyone focuses on. Like when we had Scopos, it was a cool concept, but everyone did the same thing, just put a robot way off site and then teleport to it later, and it wasn't that interesting. But with RAUORA, there is just a ton of different options. She seems to be good for post-plant, anti-flank, surprise attacks, blocking lines of sight so people can rotate, and just so many more possibilities. I really do like the idea of the surprise attack, because I thought about, like, let's say you plant in church on Clubhouse in the basement, and then you run back into Moto and you put a RAUORA door on the door between you and the diffuser. And then the defenders are going to walk up and say, oh, this is free, and then you open the door and you shoot them. Or even if you, like, take a slightly different angle, you shoot the door to open it to scare them, and then you quickly close it again. And if you have a teammate coordinating with you, it'll be even easier because they can shoot the door open for you and you just pre-fire. And if the door opens in 1 second, they're not going to have time to react. You're going to have the upper hand. And on top of that, it's also just refreshing to get an operator that can finally do something that's never been done before. A lot of times we keep getting operators that just kind of enhanced or different versions of other operators. This is completely new territory for attack. Obviously, we have a ton of defenders who can do similar things, but we have never had an attacker who can put down things that reshape the environment. Now, that's really all I have to say about RAUORA, but I am going to leave all of the footage that we were provided for you guys to watch here. There's not going to be any more commentary, it's just going to be gameplay and audio. But I want you guys to have this so you can review it and maybe point out things that I might have missed. I've reviewed the footage, I think I've covered all my bases, but I'm sure there's got to be at least one thing I missed. So if you do find something I didn't talk about, please comment it below so we can all learn from that. And let me know what you guys think. I think this is going to be a really good operator for the season and really good for Siege overall. I'm just happy that we're getting someone that I feel like is adding something new to the game. And also let me know whether you think she's going to break the game. I think she's going to be very strong, but I don't think it's going to be like Blackbeard rework strong. But thank you guys for listening to me. Enjoy the footage.
What's active? jammed open. I've lost control.
Let's find those sheep.
You have located a bomb.
Adrenos!
You have located a bomb.
Panel's been jammed open. I've lost control.
Op 4 is defusing a bomb. You need to disable their defuse. Down to 15 seconds. Time expires in 10 seconds. Op 4 is defusing a bomb. You need to disable their diffuser.